ולהתחנן לפניך על עמך ישראל, אשר שלחוני, אף על פי שאיני חטאי, והגון לכך לכן, אבקש ממך, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל, ואלוהי לאה, אדוני אדוני, אלוה רחום וחנון, אלוהי ישראל, שדי איום ונורא, אינה מצליח דרכי, אשר אני הולך לעמוד ולבקש, רחמים עלי ועל שוכי, כי אתה שומע תפילת עמך ישראל, ברחמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, שומע תפילה.
And we turn back to page 17, and I'd like to invite up Jan Lieberman to come and light our festival lights.
Amen.
Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
And we continue on page 20. Hear me, Jacob, Israel, whom I have called. I am the one, the beginning and the end. My own hand founded the earth and spread out the skies. Thus says the Eternal One, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who made the earth and all that grows in it, who gives breath to its people and spirit to those who walk on it.
I, the Eternal, have called you to righteousness and taken you by the hand and kept you. I have made you a covenant people, a light to the nations, to open blind eyes, to bring the captives out of prison, and those who sit in darkness from their dungeons.
Thus says the Eternal One, creator of heavens, the one who is.
I am, I will be, there is none else. Justice is my speech, right my declaration. The troubled past is forgotten, hidden from my sight.
For behold, I create a new heaven and a new earth, the past forgotten, never called to mind. Be glad then and rejoice forever in my creation.
Before us lies a new day, and in the distance a new world, ours to create by the strength of our faith. Esa enai el heharim me'ayin yavo ezri. Esa enai el heharim me'ayin yavo ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz.
Sweet cake, give me a drop of honey, and I will give you the harvest moon. Give me a silent tear, and I will give you the roaring sea. Give me a cup of milk, and I will give you the rising sun. Give me your secret prayer, and I will give you my broken heart. Give me a drop of honey, and we will make a feast of this life. Sweet cake, to feed ourselves with joy and love. Sweet cake to feed the world with awe and wonder. Sweet cake of milk and honey. Sweet cake of prayers and tears. Alden Solovoy.
God of our people, hear our prayer. We who speak are Jews. Remember, the bush you kindled once in the desert air years ago on Horeb's lonely sand. That fire you lit to set the centuries aflame and say to us your endless, perfect name. I am what I will be. It burns eternally now, that light, upon our altars now, against the night, and there are deserts still. We are the Jews. We do not forget.
Remember the words you spoke in stone and thunder.
The mountains smoked, and the dismayed multitude stood off, hearing the first time the words they could not refuse, fearing the burden and the God that set them into history. And there are mountains still. We are the Jews. We cannot forget. We come here then, but something far more deep compels. The ancient desert dream we keep, a people touched by God, a certain grace that tells of you. We are locked with you in old identity, remembering the lightning of that place, something in us of your awesome will, something of that mountain's thunder still.
Love us as much as we will let you. We are your Jews. We will not forget you.
B'chodesh hashvi'i be'echad lachodesh, yeh lachen shabbaton, zichron tru'a mikra kodesh, kol malechet avodah lo ta'asu. I'd like to invite Elsa and Sage Smith to come and open the doors of the ark and ask everyone to please rise.
Tiku v'chodesh shofar b'kesel yom chagenu ki chok leYisrael hu mishpat leElohei Yaakov mishpat leElohei Yaakov.
Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu shetachadesh aleinu v'al kol Beit Yisrael et hashana hazot shanat chameshet alafim u'sheva me'ot shiv'im v'tesha L'chaim u'shalom, l'sason u'simcha, l'yeshua u'nechama v'nomar. Amen. May it be your will, eternal our God, God of all generations, that the year 5779 bring to us and the whole house of Israel life and peace, joy and exaltation, redemption and comfort. And let us say,
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Leolam Vaed.
there was silence, there was chaos, there was a voice. A mind went forth to form worlds, now order reigns where chaos once held sway.
The law makes evening fall. The law brings on the dawn.
The moon follows accustomed paths, constellations their patterned ways. Sovereign is the will that orders the stars in their courses in the endless skies. Sovereign is that will.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shofeinu Kumeinu Nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu v'hem neged yomam v'layla ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Vaed.
Please be seated. We are continuing on page 26.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים Ani Adonai Elohechem.
What does it mean to be a Jew? You shall be holy.
Face of the many, to stand for the one, in the presence of fragments, to make them whole.
What does it mean to be a Jew? You shall be a holy people.
To hold fast to our vision of truth, to retain our faith in tomorrow.
Holy in our past is the memory of redemption from Egyptian bondage.
Holy in our day is the hope of a redemption we still await.
Twice holy in the past are those who gave their lives to hallow this world.
Holy is the Jew today and tomorrow who bears witness to the goodness of life.
And holy are those whose lives are songs in freedom's cause.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, norah tehilot osei felech, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokeh hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam, zeli anu ve'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai. Ga'al Yisrael.
I stroll often in a nearby park, old trees wildly overgrown, bushes and flowers blooming all 4 seasons, a creek babbling childishly over pebbles, a small bridge with rough-hewn railings. This is my little park. It's mild and gentle in the breath song of the park, and good to catch some gossip from the flutterers and flyers. Leaning on the railing of the bridge, seeing myself in clear water, I ask, "Little stream, will you tumble and flow here forever?" The creek babbles back, laughing. Today is forever. Forever is right now. I smile, a spark full of believing, a sigh full of not believing. Today is forever. Forever is right now. Malka Heifetz Tussman.
Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'shalom, L'shalom, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'shalom, V'hamidenu, Malkeinu L'chaim, L'shalom, L'shalom, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'shalom, L'shalom, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'shalom. תפרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, השכיבנו, השכיבנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לשלום, לשלום, השכיבנו, השכיבנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לשלום, ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו, השכיבנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לשלום, לשלום, השכיבנו, השכיבנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לשלום.
May we lie down this night in peace and rise up to life renewed. May night spread over us a shelter of peace, of quiet and calm, the blessing of rest. There will come a time when morning will bring no word of war or famine or anguish. There will come a day of happiness, of contentment and peace. Praise be the source of joy within us for the night and its rest, for the promise of peace. Please rise.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברך חירותי והמליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגאלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבם לברך לעולם עולמי עלמיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתשומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשו לעילא ולעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה
reveal the splendor of your majesty to all who dwell on earth, that all your works may know you as their maker, and all the living acknowledge you as their creator. Then all who breathe shall say, the sovereign God of Israel is the one whose dominion extends to all creation.
Our God and God of our ancestors, sanctify us with your betrothed, and let your Torah be our way of life. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. For you, O God, are truth, and your word is true forever. Blessed is the eternal, hallowed the house of Israel, and the day of remembrance. Say, Adonai, Elohim,
We look back in hindsight, plan ahead with foresight, keep things in order with oversight. When we miss a step, we call that oversight too. And there's a kind of seeing that we might call undersight, seeing beneath the surfaces, seeing into, through and through, taking in the whole of what is. We might also call this heart sight, seeing with the heart, because seeing deeply renders us more understanding and compassionate. Is it not easier to forgive when one sees beyond the actions, sees through to the humanity?
Eternal God, whose nature is goodness, we give you thanks and praise. And we take a moment for our own silence. As we continue on page 40, I'll ask everyone to please rise. And Tori Goldfarb. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, we have sinned against you. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our children. Avinu Malkeinu, make an end to sickness, war, and famine. Avinu Malkeinu, make an end to all oppression. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us for blessing in the book of life. Avinu Malkeinu, let the new year be a good year for us. Avinu Malkeinu, give strength to your people Israel. Avinu Malkeinu, be gracious and answer us, for we have little merit. Treat us generously and with kindness, and be our help.
וחרב ורעב מעלינו. אבינו מלכנו קלה כל צר ומסתיר מעלינו. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, כותבנו בספר חיים טובים. אבינו מלכנו, חדש עלינו, חדש עלינו שנה טובה. אבינו, אבינו מלכנו, הרי קרן ישראל עמך. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, חננו ועננו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד, עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד, להושיענו. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, חננו ועננו, כי אין בנו מעשים.
Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year. When God was about to create human beings on the sixth day of creation, the ministering angels started to disagree amongst themselves. Love said, "Let them be created because they will perform acts of love." Truth said, "Let them not be created because they will be full of falsehood." Righteousness said, "Let them be created because they will do righteous deeds." Peace said, "Let them not be created because they will be full of strife." So what did God do? God threw truth to the ground. The ministering angels looked with horror at truth's humiliation and begged God to let truth return. God relented, and then truth sprung from the earth. And the Midrash ends with the explanation that while the ministering angels were arguing with one another and disputing with one another, the Holy One created the first humans and said, "What are you fighting about? Human beings are already made." In this Midrash about the first days of creation, the angels question why God would ever create humanity given how imperfect and problematic we will be. So God creates a distraction for them, and while they still argue, creates us without their full approval. I mean, it's God. God doesn't need approval of the angels, and yet the angels still do seem to feel they have permission to express their strong opinions. This past summer, Jeff strongly encouraged me to open some of the boxes in the garage. The ones that I never got to when we moved in 10 years ago. I don't know. I guess he thought I had packed the stuff once. Maybe I should see what I've been missing. So I did not get to all of it, but I did turn 5 boxes into one by recycling an awful lot of paper. The other thing that happened is that I found 2 collections of short stories that I had never read. One was entitled An Hour in Paradise, and the other, Little Edens. Also, I had just ordered The Rise and Fall of Adam and Eve by Stephen Greenblatt to read as High Holy Day preparation. I felt like there was a clear High Holiday theme emerging. After all, Rosh Hashanah celebrates the birthday of the world. This is the 5,779th anniversary of creation, after all. I started to think about this year's High Holiday season in terms of creating paradise. During this season, we are asked to reflect on who we are, how we have succeeded and failed, how we heal our mistakes, how to move forward in a better way. Why do we do this? I think ultimately because what all of humanity is always striving for is a recreation of the Garden of Eden. I don't mean literally a garden full of animals and vegetation and a couple of naked people and a talking snake, but a metaphoric Garden of Eden, a perfect place, a holy place where there is love and truth and righteousness and peace. Ultimately, I think that's what everyone strives for. The only difficulty is that we have very different ideas about the proper path to take to get there, and we have very different beliefs ultimately about what such a place would look like, what constitutes each of those values, love, truth, righteousness, and peace. So I thought this year I'd like to explore these values from different angles, as well as delving into the story of the original Garden of Eden and the way this story has been understood throughout history, and how that has changed and affected our world. And tonight, we begin with truth. A moment ago, I told you a midrash, a story. It's a story that comes from a collection of other stories about the book of Genesis. Whatever we may believe about the actual authorship of the Torah itself, we know for sure that the midrashim, the stories written to explain and fill in the blanks, were all written by people. And yet, Jewish tradition teaches us that they are all true, even and especially if the stories contradict each other. Another midrash has God considering the creation of humans and seems to want other voices of approval before doing so. So God creates a company of ministering angels and describes the beings about to be created and asks the angels, "Is it your desire that we make humanity in our image?" And the company of angels asks with the words of Psalms 8:5, "What is man that you are mindful of him?" Essentially asking why humans are even worthy of God's attention. At once, God creates a fire with the smallest tip of a pinky finger, and it consumes the angels. So God creates another company of angels and goes through the exercise again. The same thing happens. Finally, a third company of angels is created, and rather than responding to the question of whether or not humanity should be created, they ask, "Master of the universe, how did it help the former angels when they answered you as they did? The whole world is yours, and whatever you wish to do therein, do it." Which story is the true one? In both, the message is the same. The angels don't think humans should be created. And in both, God doesn't really care what they think and goes ahead and creates us. I realize, of course, that we are talking here about the truth or falsity of a story which tries to clarify a story of creation that we, with our modern scientific minds, understand cannot possibly be true the way it is written in the Torah. We know the world is far older than 5,779 years. We've seen the dinosaur bones and rock formations and all the scientific evidence that tells us so. We also know that humans were not plunked fully formed as beautiful, hormonal, naked teenagers into a garden where none of the animals ate the other animals, and there was a tree that could give everlasting life and one that granted a particular kind of knowledge. We know the story isn't true, but we also know that the story is accepted. It's a way of understanding ourselves and our history, even if the actual facts don't line up quite with the evidence. This story is a teaching tool, just as the midrashim are teaching tools. The story of the garden and Adam and Eve teaches us about our great potential because we were created in the image of God. And the midrashim I just told you about teaches us that God chooses us over the angels every time. If we were to believe in the existence of angels, We might believe that they are very special because they serve as God's messengers, and yet it is nothing to God to destroy with a tiny finger if they dare speak against us. We are very special to God. I mean, if we believe in the truth of a God, which is a funny statement, the belief in the truth of a God. Truth shouldn't need belief in order to be true. It's either true or it isn't. Truth can be proven. There's evidence, there are witnesses, there's science even. Belief is what we hope is true without any evidence to prove it, and it's what we hope is true even in the face of evidence to the contrary. Belief sometimes looks like madness. But truth isn't quite as easy as having a little evidence. There's evidence, and then there's evidence. Do you trust where the evidence came from? Do you trust the witness, the reporter? How do we know Photoshop wasn't involved? How do we know someone isn't just saying what we want to hear? Which sources can be trusted? The last couple of years, we have faced the concept of alternative facts and fake news and historically trusted sources being accused of making facts up or not telling the whole story. In an age and a time when we are flooded with information, it is becoming harder and harder to determine which pieces of it are true and which are planted to manipulate us. Or are they all meant to manipulate us, but some do it with more truth than others? Our creation story was radical in its time. The creation stories of other ancient civilizations all contain multiple gods behaving badly. The Enuma Elish from Babylonia describes the murder of the mother god Tiamat. The junior gods were afraid of her, and they back a champion, Marduk, to kill her and split her in half. Her body halves become an upper sphere of water, forming the sky, and a lower sphere of water out of which the earth emerged. Then, in response to the junior god's annoyance at having to do chores, the humans are created to be slaves for the gods, so that they may rest while we do the work. Our story instead features a God who creates humanity in their own image without violence or bad behavior, and not to serve God's needs, but rather to mirror God's behavior and to take time to rest from our work every week, just as God does. And even more, by eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, through our own actions, we are endowed not just with animalistic urges towards sex and violence, as the Babylonian first people were described, but with moral wisdom. We have the power to do and to judge right from wrong. That was a new idea in the world, and that's part of why our story stuck. It's what made it great. Humans have a higher purpose to behave and to judge morally, to rest from work, and to understand that we have great potential. Throughout history, there have been times when our Adam and Eve story was taken as a metaphor and times when it was understood literally. Philo, a Greek-speaking Jewish philosopher who lived from 20 BCE to 50 CE, understood that people who read Plato and Aristotle would read our Genesis story as a child's story and something to be laughed at for its lack of sophistication and deep thinking. So he put forth the idea that the story is an allegory. He taught that each detail instead has to be treated as a philosophical riddle, a hint toward concealed and more abstract meaning. The Bible says that in 6 days the world was created, he wrote, not because the maker was in need of a length of time, for God surely did everything at the same time. Days are mentioned because things coming into existence required order. Augustine, a Roman African Christian who lived from 354 to 430 CE and was later sainted, spent his life in deep thought and argument proving that the story of Adam and Eve was a literal story, to be read and understood at its most straightforward understanding. This means that humanity sinned and the world changed, and so all future humans are also guilty of their sin until the Messiah comes to return us to an Eden-like state. Also importantly, Augustine argued that sex is not natural or healthy. He did. He believed that even intercourse between a husband and wife for the sole purpose of creating a child was corrupt behavior. He bases this on his reading that there was no sex between Adam and Eve until they leave the garden. Augustine's views have been the primary influence on Catholic and Christian readings of this story from that time on, and I would argue continue to be a primary influence on modern culture. Of course, the pendulum on how we read this goes back and forth. Mark Twain wrote in his books, The Diaries of Adam and Eve, a very personal history of our progenitors. These books focus primarily on the relationship between male and female with joy and humor, but they certainly also serve to undermine the elevated and holy stature of a biblical story that was understood to be literal and complete. He writes in Adam's diary, "She engages herself in many foolish things, among others trying to study out why the animals called lions and tigers live on grass and flowers when, as she says, the sort of teeth they wear would indicate that they were intended to eat each other. This is foolish, because to do that would be to kill each other, and that would introduce what, as I understand it, is called death. And death, as I have been told, has not yet entered the garden." Twain was writing after Charles Darwin's research had just entered the marketplace of ideas. He reads the Eden story not just as allegory, but as comedy, completely impossible based on what scientific research has revealed. There could never have been an idyllic community of animals because evolution would not have allowed it. And now, in our day, we are faced with museums designed to teach how Adam and Eve lived happily side by side with dinosaurs. Because for some, there is the need to believe the biblical story is absolute truth, regardless of the piles of evidence to the contrary. But unfortunately, for those behind places like the Creation Museum in Kentucky, who insist all fossils can be dated back to Noah's flood, there is solid peer-reviewed evidence proving that most fossils are a good deal older than 5,000 years, and were not all formed during one worldwide flood. But gosh, it's a history museum, and the way they explain it, everything makes sense. They're able to wrap up all the questions into perfect answers, proving the truth of every biblical story. That is very attractive to a lot of people. Clear answers they can believe are true. If we cannot trust ancient sources to be true, and we cannot trust all modern sources to be true, how do we determine truth from fiction? In The Lifespan of a Fact, a writer, John D'Agata, and a fact checker, Jim Fingal, spend chapter after chapter arguing over the truthiness of an essay that would be published in a magazine. The fact checker checks everything, including the color of the carpet in a hotel on a particular date. And the author repeatedly responds that there is no need to correct these small inaccuracies, as they have nothing to do with the main story. He explains that his new fact reads better or sounds better, or is just the way he remembers it. I found myself getting angrier and angrier with both men as I read the book. The fact checker for going obviously overboard on checking things that really don't matter, and regularly offering rewrites to the author, which would have made a magazine article sound like a scientific journal. And I was angry at the author because it seemed to me he was taking too much poetic license in a story that was about an actual event and actual people, changing their quotes because he didn't like the words they chose, but still including quotation marks, things like that. But then at the end of the book, there was a remarkable exchange between the two. In the article itself, the author, John D'Agata, writes, "Sometimes we misplace knowledge in pursuit of information. Sometimes our wisdom, too, in pursuit of what's called knowledge." After all the back and forth, after all the arguing that his factual changes for the sake of literature were better, finally, at the end of the article, he acknowledges that even when reporting on actual facts, things are colored by either what we believe or the information we are seeking. Sometimes we misplace knowledge in pursuit of information, and sometimes we misplace wisdom in pursuit of what we think is knowledge. I read this as, sometimes we mistake belief for truth. Finally, the arguing between the two comes to a head. Jim, the fact checker, insists that since this story will be published information, each and every fact must be accurate because it will become the authoritative record once published. And then John says this, "It's not that I'm claiming there's no meaning in this flood of information, Jim, but rather the more important thing to highlight here is the search for meaning. And an integral part of my search for that meaning is this attempt to reconstruct details in a way that makes them feel significant, even if that significance is one that doesn't naturally occur in the event being described. And I know full well that by saying something like that, I will make a lot of people uncomfortable. But this is what I believe the job of the artist is. I am seeking a truth here, but not necessarily accuracy. When we seek truth, we may not always be seeking accuracy. Sometimes we prefer a good story because sometimes we learn more about ourselves from art than from pure facts. Evolution is slow. There are millions of years without big changes. It's hard to understand how we evolved from something like chimpanzees to humans with moral obligations. But a story like Adam and Eve makes it easier to understand, and not only for children, for deep-thinking scientific adults as well. Days are not days in the beginning of creation, but rather a lesson about evolution, that things must come in a particular order. Knowledge of good and evil isn't contained in a single bite of fruit, but we have the ability to make decisions about what kind of knowledge we will fill ourselves with and what kind of knowledge we will disregard because it doesn't suit us or because we don't believe it. Truth was right to argue against our creation. We don't appreciate plain raw truth as much as we may crave it. We are all artists of one kind or another, and what we crave is a story that has enough truth to be believable, but also enough creativity to be interesting. Now, on the cusp of a new year, I want to leave you with some questions to which you will each find your own answers. How will you engage in the search for truth this year? How will you prepare yourselves to hear truth, even when it goes against what you believe? And how will you bring more truth that can be heard and appreciated to the world so that together we may continue to the work of building a world where love and truth and righteousness and peace may all dwell here with us? May 5779 bring us new questions to explore, new truths to uncover and understand, and may it, please God, be a sweet one for us all. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. So we continue now on page 43, and I'll ask everyone to please rise. It's okay, I'll just open the ark. It was making a lot of noise, too.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, la'tekedu la'leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשיבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad.
At this sacred moment, we turn our thoughts to those who have gone from life. We recall the joy of their companionship. We feel a pang, the echo of that intenser grief, when first their death lay before our stricken eyes. Now we know that they will never vanish so long as heart and thought remain within us. But by love are they remembered, and in memory they live. O God, grant that their memory may bring strength and blessing. May the nobility in their lives and the high ideals they cherished endure in our thoughts and live on in our deeds. May we carry on their work, help to redeem your promise that life shall yet prevail. And this week, we remember the recent death of Matt Seidman, Rabbi Daniel Treiser, Shirley Reeves Morris, Susan Stern, Henry Davis Mitchell Jr., Earl Hornstein, Jason Levy, Harriet Kolsch, Yehuda Zis, Sonny Larson, Audrey Meyer, Jean Morris, Robert Holtzman, Ralph Ehrlich, Sidney Risbeck, Esther Buff Doherty, Sadie Hayden, Joy Barnett, Rosalie Gottlieb, Jerry Moody. And we remember the yahrzeit this week of Bessie Axelrod, Mitchell Feingold, Henry Goodfader, Gerson J. Abramson, Joseph Samuels, Bernard Gross, Ellen Copeland. If there are others that you're remembering, if you'll say their names out loud as I look around the room. We join together on page 45. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. B'agalau v'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata. Damiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to those who are bereaved. And we all say,
Amen.
please be seated. I'd like to invite Larry Holzman, our president, up to come and say a few words.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Flip. See if I can see this without my glasses. Good evening, welcome. Make sure there's no guy in a plaid shirt behind me. So as we embark upon the days of awe, our task is to reflect a bit on the past. We do this not just to remember the good or bad times, but so that we can learn to grow as human beings. I think we've heard a lot of that. And I think we all know we all have room for improvement, and that we need to take the time to appreciate what we have and what we've lost. And I think, as you said, it's also important to look around those around us, not just us, but also in our society, and try to figure out where they're coming from and why they think or act the way that they do. So this is more of a state of the congregation type thing. And so I've been president for almost a year now, and except for a few occasions, it's been a lot of fun. Our membership is up from last year. I feel we continue to be on an upward trajectory. If you're interested in numbers, we're currently at 134 family units, which is or may be at a historical high. And I hear a lot more about new members coming to town, new prospects, than I do people who are leaving our congregation, which is always nice. Our religious school will be around 65 this year, which is also up from last year. We had 2 B'nai Mitzvah this summer, and I'm pretty sure that we're the only congregation in the area with a goat. So our high school program should remain at about 20 students. Last year, you may recall that I mentioned that Jewish sex education was added to the curriculum. Well, I abstained from getting an update, but come on. Would you expect anything less? So I hear the Cass kids this year are studying Jewish ethics through art, which includes protest art. And the teachers, Isaac and Rabbi Shauna Bringard Bialik, will also be our guest speakers at the Hanukkah Latka Fest. And they will speak about Jewish superheroes. And I'm really hoping that that means like Gal Gadot. So,
It could be.
Could be?
It might be.
Okay.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. Some of Isaac's art also can be seen outside a rabbi's office. So our board has 2 new members this year, as well as some returning veterans. And this next May, we'll have 2 trustee positions that will be subject to election. Last year, we were named as beneficiary in the will of 2 now deceased members. One of those gifts will go to our endowment funds, and the other gift was restricted for scholarships to Camp Carlsman. We as a congregation are working toward a legacy giving program of our own, which somewhat akin to what the Oregon Jewish Community Foundation does with its Life and Legacy program. And it is our hope that friends and congregants will remember us in their estate plans. We will also continue planning ways to increase our endowment funds, as well as shoring up or expanding our budget to meet the growing wants and needs of our congregation. We have been active in our community over the past year, and we will continue to seek to educate people about our values and what is important to us. And I don't think I need to remind anybody that it's an election year. So go ahead and post and share things on Facebook all you want. But voting, taking action is really ultimately what effectuates change. And just in conclusion, think about who you are, who you want to be, the type of world in which you want to live, and then go out and be the change you want to see. Thank you very much. Shana Tova.
Wait, don't move. There's announcements right there.
And the announcements. This one. Okay. And I have to get my glasses out for that. See, I print this up with the font. Brad, you can probably read this from there. This is why I really took the job. So there is an opening to be co-coordinator of Tikkun Platoon. Look for details in the happenings. If you're interested, contact David Wolf. You can live stream all of our high holiday services by clicking the link on the happenings or go to the CKA website and click the link on the home page. First day Rosh Hashanah service is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Rosh Hashanah member luncheon directly following the morning service, and all are welcome to attend. Family services will be at 3. Tashlich will be tomorrow at 4:30 at Kleinlein Pond. Second day Rosh Hashanah, which will be Tuesday, since tomorrow's Monday, at 10 a.m. Religious school starts Sunday the 16th at 10 a.m. Email Amy if you have any questions. The Yamim Noraim Memorial service will be at Kihilat Olam at Northwood Cemetery on Sunday the 16th at 1:15 p.m. And it is our biannual food drive. We're collecting food and funds in the lobby. Please, what does that say? Okay. That's really not what it says. But all donations will go to the Clark County Food Bank in Mazone. KWRJ has a few exciting events coming up. Connections and Conversation on Sunday the 16th. Walk the Salmon Creek Trail and enjoy lunch at Chuck's. Adopt a Row is Monday, September 17th at 5:30 p.m. Please come and help the Clark County Food Bank harvest squash. For more information, email KWRJ. And the 2018-2019 member directory is out. If you're a member, please pick up your copy in the lobby. We hope that you're also inscribed in the membership book for the year, and the Book of Life. Yeah, I think that's
That
next
too.
week.
I mean,
Is that next week?
it's
is
this
available
weekend
now?
next. We
So
start
we have to
now.
wait till next week to get that book.
Yeah, well, for it to close. It's
Oh.
open. It's open now.
Okay. All right. But the membership directory is available now in the lobby. So please join us in the social hall for Kiddush honey cake. Thank you, Barb Green, for baking it all, apples and honey. Thank you, Ann Bardicke, for donating all the apples. And thank you all for coming again tonight. Thank you for a nice service.
Thank you, Larry.
All right.
We continue on page 47.
Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir niva ve'et nasa b'chefso kol hazai melech shemo nikra אחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה ואין שני להמשילו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז וחי גואלי בצור חבלי בצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי ונען כוסי ביום אקרא Avkid ruchi ve'et ishan ve'ayira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li ve'lo ira
Shana Tova Umituka, may it be a good and sweet year for us all. Shana Tova, please join us in the social hall